Espo in his house.
Hey everyone, it's me, Sally B, and it is currently March, which I know is very late into the year, but this is a video talking about all the books that I read for the year 2023, if anyone is even still interested. I took a while on editing this video because there's just been a lot going on in my life right now. I just had a baby, so it's been really tough adjusting to this new chapter in my life. But at the same time, very beautiful chapter in my life, a beautiful start to a chapter in my life. Yeah, I've just been busy, and there's been other things going on in my life too that have been very tough as well. But without further ado, these are the books that I read for the year 2023, and I hope you all enjoy. The first book that I finished this year is this book, The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. So this is a thriller book about a girl named Jess who goes to Paris to live with her half-brother, and when she arrives at the apartment, he's nowhere to be found, and everybody living in that building is just strange and suspicious that they become suspects and are being secretive about what happened to Jess's half-brother Ben. So she's trying to figure out through them if they know anything. All the characters in the book are just very cold, especially the people living in the apartment. I couldn't even guess who could possibly be the culprit in this book. I was like, it really could be any of these people. Like, they all seem like they're capable of doing something to Ben. And then the main character, Jess, I mean, she probably was the most likable character out of everyone. But even then, there was a lot of things that she did where it's like, oh my God, really, girl? Like, why are you doing that? Like, even when she started trusting Nick and telling him a lot of the information that she knew, I was like, I don't know if this guy is even trustworthy. And then we have the brother Ben. This is a spoiler. Feel free to just ignore this part if you want to read the book. I was like, dang, Ben, they talk about how he's so likable and this and that. And I feel like, of course, since he's the one that's missing, we only get to know him through flashbacks. So it's really hard to understand, what was so charming about this guy. Wow, that's quite the skill to have, He pretty much had everybody just lusting after him. And then there was a point in this book where I felt like, okay, is this going into an Eyes Wide Shut direction here? Like, what is going on? So I feel like there wasn't really anything too shocking or just caught me off, like, leaving my jaw open, other than Ben pretty much having this family, like having something with multiple members of the same family or having them fall in love with him. That was really the only shocking thing, because it's like, dang, this guy got game. Like, I feel like it wasn't that thrilling for a thriller book. The second book I finished is this book, The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. So this book is about a girl named Catalina, or Lena as she likes to be called, who is going back to her hometown in Spain for her sister's wedding. And her sister is actually getting married to Lena's ex-boyfriend's brother. So Lena doesn't want to show up to the wedding without a date and have everybody feel pity on her or feel sorry for her because of the heartbreaking breakup that she had with her ex-boyfriend, who's also the best man. Catalina's co-worker Aaron overhears this, and so he offers to be her date. So I wasn't sure if this was going to be one of those fake dating type books. In a way, it kind of is. You could pretty much tell that Aaron, when he offered to be her date, you could tell that it was genuine. He actually really wanted Lena to be his date, whereas Lena, didn't want to accept it, or pretty much was in denial. And so a lot of the fake dating was pretty much on her end. I really liked this book. I liked the romance between Aaron and Lena. I liked the conversations. I felt like I was a part of this relationship, going on this journey, seeing them falling in love, seeing Lena realizing her true feelings about Aaron. I feel like Aaron was pretty much the ideal boyfriend. The way he was written and the way he talks to Lena, it is pretty much, what we all would love to hear. I thought Lena was funny. Her family was funny as well. So if you're into spicy books or books with spiciness in it, then this is a good book for you then. I know my mom, she's like, why are you reading those books? Excuse me? It's like, all right, Mom, I'm a grown woman here. And I liked the little bits of Spanish that were in it. And also like with Aaron too, who was interested in the culture, learning Spanish for Catalina to be able to communicate with her family when he went to Spain. I thought that was, just one of those small little cute moments of Aaron. Wait, his name is Aaron, right? I was like, not Adam. I think Adam was from Love Hypothesis. But yeah, that was one of the little things that I liked that he did for Lena that, you know, it's hard not to swoon over. I'm just kidding. I never say swoon. So following that book, I read this book. I Kissed Shara Wheeler. For some reason, I keep wanting to say Sarah Wheeler, but it's Shara. And when I was reading the book the whole time, I was saying Sarah. What? Now she has a third name. I kept saying Sarah. So if I accidentally say Sarah, it's because I just kept reading it as Sarah. But anyway, I read this book, I Kissed Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston. Oh my God. I'm just on a roll right here with mispronouncing words. Casey McQuiston. This book is about a girl named Chloe Green who moves from LA to a small city in Alabama, and she does her full 4 years of high school there. There's a girl named Shara Wheeler who is like this perfect ideal girl. Everybody in that city just loves her, and Chloe, she just absolutely hates this girl. And so one of her big goals is to be the valedictorian, but her big competition is, of course, no one other than Shara. Shara goes missing, and it turns out she kisses 3 people, one of them being Chloe, Shara's boyfriend named Smith, and then Shara's next door neighbor named Rory. And so the 3 of them embark on this journey. They try to find out what's going on, why did she kiss him, and where the heck is this chick. I really enjoyed this book. I love stories about coming of age and about teenagers. I did feel like it dragged on a little bit long, you know, when the whole process of trying to find Shara. Keep wanting to say Sarah. But I did like how Chloe becomes very close with Smith and Rory. Kind of had a feeling why she left. I feel like it was kind of obvious, but I really just enjoyed the story. I liked the characters when they finally come to realization of, you know, what's going on between all of them. One thing that I did feel, I guess, I don't want to say that I didn't like about the book, but one thing that I felt like Chloe was, it seemed like she was very, very obsessed with Shara. And I mean, I do understand it, but at the same time, it was just like, dang, this girl is really just on it. And especially expressing how much she does not like this girl. And it's like, dang. It's late April, and I recently finished the Snotgirl comic books. So there's only 3 volumes. I did hear that they are going to continue the series this year, so I'm waiting to see more about that, because the way it did end, I mean, it was kind of like a cliffhanger. Snotgirl is about a girl named Lottie, who is an influencer living in LA. She ends up befriending this girl that she nicknamed Cool Girl. Oh, and by the way, Lottie has really bad allergies, hence the name Snotgirl. She starts taking this new allergy medication where at the same time weird things start happening where people end up dying, and Cool Girl, it's like, is she dead? Is she not? I was kind of confused on what was even going on. And also with Cool Girl, it's kind of, you can't tell if it's going to be a friendship or something romantic is going to bloom between these two. There's so many characters, and a lot of them are very shallow and vapid. But I did like Lottie's character, even though she was very shallow. A lot of the people that she meets, she gives them nicknames like Cute Girl, Norm Girl. She didn't even bother to, you know, remember these people's names that are even considered her friends. Honestly, not a lot really happens in this story besides people randomly like dying, and it's like, okay, nobody even cares that that girl was pushed off the building and she ends up like attending Norm Girl's wedding, where it's like, what? Sometimes mindless entertainment is fun, and I feel like these comics were a lot of fun. I really liked a lot of the animation in here, seeing the different outfits that these characters wear, and also like how in the back of the comics they also explain some of the choices in the characters and what they drew them as wearing and what they drew them wearing. I'm excited to see if they continue the series. Hopefully they do. If I sound funny, I started Invisalign, so I don't know if my voice sounds different, or I don't know if my teeth probably look extra shiny. But anyway, next up I read Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. So when Eleanor Bennett passes away, she leaves her 2 children a black cake. Benny and Byron, they hear these voice notes, and the mom explains pretty much her whole life story to them and reveals all these secrets about who she really is, her true identity, and it's a lot. I love books that feel like you're living someone else's life. And in this book, you really feel like Alan Bennett's full life story from, I think it talks a lot about when she was a teenager up into when she passes away. Eleanor definitely went through a lot. Actually, I don't know if I should say exactly the things that she goes through because I don't want to give spoilers, but it's so much that is covered in this book. So definitely because of that reason, Eleanor was the character that was the most developed in the story. There's a lot of characters in the story as well, and I feel like it was pretty easy to follow along and tell, you know, what character was which character when certain things were revealed. I feel like this book was all right. I can't even imagine how Byron and Benny must feel when listening to those recordings. I can't imagine if my mom told me, my mom told me the truth that she had this whole secret life that I never knew about. It would be a lot to take in. I feel like it's so hard, you know, when you read these stories about people having to disassociate with their past life and just start all over. Maybe it was easier back in the day, but it seems so, like, how do people even do it? Like, start over a whole new identity. It seems so complicated, and like it would be something difficult to do. How hard it must be to not even be able to go to your hometown or take your kids to your hometown and have them see where you grew up. And anyway, next up, I read Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. It's about a lady who goes missing one day as she goes for a late night jog. And then not too long after, another lady and her daughter go missing. 11 years later, the daughter, her name is Delilah, shows up or is found. So pretty much all these questions arise about where she was. I really enjoyed this book. I love a good thriller, and I feel like this was a good thriller. There was 2 big twists that happened, and both of those twists I personally didn't see coming. There is some tough topics or some heartbreaking parts of this book. In the beginning of the book, it does talk about the little girl Delilah, how she pretty much is kidnapped and living in someone's basement. Now this is it's not a spoiler because it happens right in the beginning, and we also do know that she ends up being found because it is in the book description. That chapter was really tough to read because it's so sad to think about how often this happens, how many kids out there have gone through something similar to Delilah. And even reading this book, how there's a kid out there somewhere in someone's basement going through what Delilah's going through. It's just so heartbreaking. I'm gonna head into spoiler territory, so because I feel like it is hard to talk about this book without giving spoilers. So if you do want to read this book, you don't want to know any spoilers, feel free to skip ahead. I feel like this book, it definitely puts into perspective of how people become desperate over certain situations, like when we find out what Bea, I think that's how you say it, what Bea does regarding a car accident. I've seen it in movies. I feel like I've seen movies where people accidentally do something, commit a crime, and they panic, they become desperate, they don't want to go to prison, and it's really makes you think about, what would I do? What would I do in that situation? Because it is scary. I mean, obviously we would think, don't drink and drive. Yeah, it just really made me think, well, how would I have handled that situation? Not even just as Bea, but even as Meredith as well. And I completely understand Meredith. And even what happens to Meredith is really heartbreaking. It's so crazy to think the lengths people will go to save their own butt, pretty much. And it's just crazy because it's like you're digging yourself in a deeper hole, but I'm sure they don't even realize that. One of the things that I did catch on early on was when Delilah says how when she was in that basement, there's another kid there named Gus. Right off the bat, I already knew Gus didn't exist. I figured it was something she created through her trauma and loneliness. That one I already figured right off the bat. And one of the things I enjoyed about this book too was how there was a lot of people where you could suspect the husband that had anger issues, and then you also had that doctor. I kept thinking, is it him? Is it not? I wasn't sure. But either way, that character was really creepy. How do people like that even get jobs? It's so insane. Or also Marty's wife, I can't remember her name either. Cassandra, I think. Like, there was a point where I even thought maybe it could be her. Maybe she's pissed off at Meredith, thinking that she's having that affair. And also I did feel like it was pretty obvious that Marty was having an affair with Shelby. There was just a lot going on, like a lot of twists and turns in this book. And the person that it turned out to be, I did not see it. I didn't suspect them. I don't know, maybe there were hints that I just didn't pick up on, but I feel like I didn't catch on any hints that it was that person. I wanted to keep reading the heck out of this book, and I really wanted to know what was going on. When I think about a good thriller, like, okay, I'll compare this to The Paris Apartment. I think in my review I mentioned I feel like there wasn't anything that happened that made me shocked or my jaw drop. And this book had a lot of moments where I just was like, oh my god, what is going on? Or no way that, yeah, this book I feel like was great. It is currently mid-September and I finished this book, The Candy House by Jennifer Egan. I think it's Egan, I hope. Okay, so this book, I took like a million years reading. This one I feel like was a hard read for me because, first of all, I don't really understand what was going on. It's about this guy who creates this technology called Own Your Own Consciousness. Okay, I'm going to read it from the book, from the description right here, which allows you to access every memory you've ever had and to share your own in exchange for access to the memories of others. Maybe I need to join Own Your Own Consciousness because apparently I couldn't even remember a lot of this book. This book had so many characters that it was hard to remember a lot of them. I felt like I had to keep flipping through the book trying to remember who the heck is this person? Like, who the heck is this? I even had to Google a character map. Some of them did, what is it, like interlap? Their stories interlapped or whatever. Because a lot of them were like relatives or things like that. People worked for other people. And then it said in the description that there was a whole chapter of tweets, which I was like, well, where? Are these the tweets? Is this it? Because it didn't really look like they were tweets. And Lulu the Spy, that one was kind of confusing to me. I didn't really get what the heck was going on in that chapter. The chapters that I did like, because they're kind of like almost like little short stories. The ones that I did like was Case Study, No One Got Hurt. That one was about the guy who would like just be screaming in public. I don't know, I just remember that character as being interesting. And then I also liked the chapter Rhyme Scheme, which this one I don't even remember what character this was about, but I mean, I liked the story. It did have a little love interest plot, so maybe that's why I liked it. And then I liked this one, The Mystery of Our Mother, because it talked a lot about family relationships, and I also love stories about, you know, the relationships we have with our relatives because it could be relatable. I did feel like I had a hard time getting through it. To be completely honest, I don't really know what the main plot of the story was. It could also be that since I took forever reading it, I kind of just would forget what the other stories were about. I don't know, maybe that threw me off track. Yeah, a lot of things I thought were confusing. This one was a little tough one for me. One of the tougher books that I've had to get through in a long time. And also, if I look like a mess, honestly, it is because I am a mess. I am going through some personal stuff right now, and I am also sick. So yeah, I'm just a big old mess right now. But anyway, this next book I finished in November, and it is called The Lying Life of Adults by Elena Ferrante. So this book is about a girl named Giovanna who one day hears her father saying how she's starting to look like her aunt, which is his brother, which is his sister. So pretty much Vittoria, I guess, is just considered somebody who is not attractive or not beautiful. And so this comment sticks with Giovanna forever. And she wants to meet her Aunt Vittoria, who is not in the best terms with her brother, which is Giovanna's dad. And so she eventually meets her aunt, and that's pretty much what this book is about. And I feel so bad for Giovanna because throughout this book, she also mentions so many times how she's just ugly and is just haunted by that comment that her dad made. As we know, a lot of girls go through self-esteem issues, especially when they're growing up. So this is a coming-of-age book, which I love coming-of-age stories. I feel like they're just so relatable. I feel like not much happens in this book, or at least I don't think that much happens. And I read this book with my best friend Marissa, and we both kind of felt like we weren't sure whether we liked this book or not, and we were both cracking up about certain comments in this book, like when Giovanna talks about, you know, her first experiences with a boy and how she refers to him smelling like a toilet, and we thought that was really hilarious. We're like, that's so gross. I think she mentions that more than once. Minor spoiler, out of all the guys for her to experience that first time with, she chooses the one that smelled like a toilet. It's like, really, girl? Okay, these are spoilers. Oh my gosh, spoilers. I was reading for something to happen between Giovanna and Roberto, who she had a huge crush on, which goes back to, really, girl, yet you chose the toilet guy. But anyway, I do think it's good that she didn't choose to do anything with Roberto because of her friendship with his fiance, Juliana. So I'm glad she didn't break the sister code, you know, of doing something with her friend's boyfriend or fiance. That would have been really bad. They talk a lot about her family too, which her family, they're all pretty strange, especially the Aunt Victoria is an odd character. I just feel like there wasn't really any character that I really cared for in this story. Even Giovanna as the main character, I didn't really know whether I liked her or not. I mean, I didn't despise her character, but it was just, I just feel like there wasn't really much to her. So I really just feel like this book was okay. It was all right. I feel like it's one of those that I probably won't remember. I agree with my friend Marissa because we were going to do this review together, and she said she couldn't remember much about this book. And I feel like, because she finished it before me, and I feel like, girl, I'm pretty sure that's going to be my feelings on this book later too. Hey everyone, so I'm sick. I feel like garbage once again. I feel like my nephew and I, we just keep getting sick back and forth, and now my sister got sick, and it just keeps going around and around here at our house. But anyway, so these are the last two books that I read for this year 2023, following the last one, which I can't even remember what I read before this. But anyway, I read this book, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This is a YA thriller book, and it's about a high schooler named Pippa who does a project on a murder that happened in her town of this popular girl named Andy and her boyfriend Sal, who everyone in the town believes that Sal murdered Andy, and Andy's body's never been found. So the case kind of just went cold because they couldn't figure out what exactly happened, and they couldn't find Andy's body. So anyway, Pippa, she decides to investigate and do a project on this murder. And she eventually teams up with Sal's brother, Ravi. They try to figure out what exactly happened and try to clear Sal's name because they don't believe that he was the one that murdered Andy. I really liked the characters, Pippa and Ravi. I enjoyed them as a duo trying to solve this mystery, trying to solve this murder, and also as a blooming romance. Of course, right? I know this is part of I think it's a 3-book series, and this is book 1. So I probably would check out the other 2 because I really did enjoy this one. And like I said, I really enjoyed the characters as well. I did feel like it was a good thriller, even though some parts it's like, Pippa, no, don't do that. Don't do that, girl. You're getting yourself into trouble, and that is so risky. I mean, I guess to solve that mystery, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? It was a fast read for me. Fast reads are always mean that I enjoy the book, and I did like it. And I'm always down for a good murder mystery book, and this one I feel like it was good. I liked it. Okay, so next up, this is gonna be the last book that I'll read this year. I actually haven't finished it, but I'm just gonna talk about it anyway in case I just don't have time later to film it. It's this book, Meet Me Under the Mistletoe by Jenny Bayliss. I definitely got this book because I was looking for a cute Christmas book to read during this time, and I remember seeing this cover and thinking that looks really cute. I'm gonna read it. And it's about a girl, oh my god, it's about a girl named Eleanor, or Nori for short, who is gonna attend her friend from college's wedding. And so they all meet up in a castle, and all her friends are like super rich, and Eleanor doesn't come from like a wealthy background, so she kind of sticks out. While they're at the castle, there's a gardener that she, of course, romance starts to form. So far, I like the book. It's like one of those cozy reads. I don't feel like it's anything really special yet, but I mean, it's enjoyable for this time. I feel like
I just needed something easy, cozy to read just to close out this year, because this year so far has been kind of not that great for me. I mean, it's been good, but there's been some things that are, anyway, that's like a whole nother story. But anyway, I just, for what it is, it's a good book to pass the time. I don't know if I would recommend it. I mean, it's not bad. It's just, I'm kind of like, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of good romances out there. Yeah, it's all right so far. Those are all the books that I read for this year. I'm so excited about my books for next year. I already have my book to start out the next year. I'm really excited to start that one. Now off to 2024. I can't believe it's already 2024. Wow.